Sharing your projects and collaborating with other developers is a crucial part of being a coder, but navigating the world of Git and GitHub can feel a little bit overwhelming. How can we go from having our project on our machine and sharing and working on it with other developers? This video provides a simple step-by-step guide that will help you confidently push your code from Visual Studio Code to GitHub to be able to share it with other developers on your team, get some advice, or share projects. And the best part is, using Visual Studio Code, there's no terminal required. So first off, why Git and GitHub? Git tracks changes to your code. GitHub then stores the code online. These two things working together is a backup, collaboration, portfolio, and peace of mind. You can think of GitHub like Google Docs for code, tracks changes, share with collaborators, and revert any mistakes or versions at any time. Just a couple of prerequisites. You will need to have a GitHub account. If you don't already have one, today's the day. They're completely free. You will also need to have Git installed on your machine, and you can do this through command or terminal. Better yet, Visual Studio Code, which is another requirement for this video. You can check your version by doing git --version, hitting return, and you can confirm that it's been installed. If you don't have Git installed, I'll put the link in the description for both Windows and Mac. The next step is you'll need to open up your project folder, or if you don't have a project folder, you'll need to create one. So let's go ahead and create a project folder together. I'm just going to put this one on my desktop. I'll do new folder, and we'll call this one Awesome Project. We'll go ahead and open that up. If you already have some Python or coding files, make sure that they're in this folder. If not, we can easily create some. All the different files will be available within this Git repository. So even if I had our website.html, etc., and they'll all be within this project in this folder. The next thing we need to do is we need to click on the source control. Looks like a circle with some lines connecting them. And you'll see that this folder currently doesn't have a Git repository. We can initialize it, or we can choose to publish it directly to GitHub. So we're going to first initialize the repository here, and this is going to be handling our source control. Initializing repository means telling Git, start tracking changes in this folder. It turns our project folder into a Git managed project ready to record your work. You can see our changes here. We have the Python file that we made, the HTML file that we've made, and we can also choose to commit. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we try to commit. So the first thing it warns us about is that it says, hey, you have some unsaved files. Would you like to save them or just go ahead and commit? I'd recommend saving all and then committing. And we get this new file that pops up. We have some information here. So it's saying, all right, you're going to be posting this on the main branch. This is also the initial commit. This is the first time we're working with this project. We have some changes. We added the new file. We added 2 new files. If there was any changes to those files, it's waiting for us to approve it. So committing is like saving a specific snapshot of your project's progress. But first, you can see here we have staged changes. We're telling Git exactly what we want to save in this snapshot. We'll also need to include a message as well, as if we were trying to send it, we'll get an error in the bottom right telling us that the operation was canceled due to empty commit message. So we always have to include a message. So it can even be something as simple as creating our project. Now we can go ahead and press the check mark in the top right. Go ahead and save and send that off. Especially when working in a team, make sure you're describing what you changed and why. It'll help out a ton. Don't just put commit 1, commit 2, commit 3. Be specific. Help yourself and your teammates out. All right, and now it wants us to publish this branch. And we can see that we're going to be publishing this branch to main. That is the default branch name for our project. We'll talk about branches in a little bit, but if we go ahead and publish the branch, it will want us to sign into GitHub. Let's go ahead and allow that change. For me, it's opened up my web browser. I'm already signed into GitHub on Safari, so I can go ahead and continue. You might just need to sign in, and we will need to authorize Visual Studio Code in order to send and access those repositories for us. So let's go ahead and authorize it. Might just need to put in your authentication code for 2FA as well, and that's going to redirect us back to Visual Studio Code. And now at the top here, we have 2 options. We can publish to GitHub privately or publicly. Public, anyone on the internet can view your code, great for open source projects, portfolios, or even learning examples. Private, only you and specific people you grant access to can view and interact with your code. Personal projects, client work, team projects, that's where you'll make it private. I'll just make mine public for today. Looks like our branch was published. So let's go ahead and make some changes, right? I'm not actually going to write any code here, but I'm just going to kind of show you that as we kind of go ahead and make changes to our code, and as we save them, If we refresh, you might just need to kind of come back to the source control page. You can see here that we have a little one saying, hey, there's one change that's been made. Same here on the HTML, it should update to 2. We can see that we have our different changes as well. So we can go ahead and commit these changes. So you can choose to stage these changes if you'd like. You can always choose like, hey, I always want to stage them before I commit them. And let's go ahead and say updated our project, right? Be more specific than I'm being right now. So like, what did you do? Did you add a new function? Did you enable dark mode, light mode support, things like that? We're going to go ahead and commit and save. And then you can now see that we can sync our changes. When we sync our changes, it's going to pull and push commits from and to our main, which is that main branch for our project. Okay, and let's go ahead and check out our project on GitHub as well. I'm just going to go ahead and get signed in here. Now I have a lot of projects on GitHub, but we can find our awesome project down here. We can click on it, and we can even see we have the message that was, hey, we updated our project 1 minute ago. We can see our Python folder. Again, not a whole lot of complex code in this one. We can view it, we can share it with our team and access it on my other device. So maybe I can grab it on my Windows PC or work laptop, things like that. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about branching. Branching allows us to create separate lines of development in our project. Think of it like taking your project in a new direction or adding a feature or fix a bug without affecting the main working version. This will allow you to keep your main code stable while you experiment or work on parallel tasks. Once done, you can actually merge your changes back into the main branch. So we can see here we have a source control graph where we only have the main branch currently. To create a new branch, we can come up to the awesome project Git, where we can see we have our pull, push, clone, fetch, and we navigate to the branch here. We can see that merge I was talking about. We can also create a branch or create a branch from. So we need to provide the branch with a name. So maybe if I was working on a new feature, we'll then hit return. And now we can see that we have this new feature branch. We can click on it as well or search in the top. We see we have our main branch and then we have our new feature branch as well. And we can use this to swap between the two branches that we're working on at any time. Once we're happy with our branch, we can also publish it. Then on GitHub, you can also view these branches. You'll see now in the top left, we have main with a drop-down menu, and we can see our new feature branch. Mine's just a duplicate, but if we did have those changes, we can work on that branch, fix those bugs, experiment with those new features while keeping that main branch intact. Let's say, you went through those changes and it's great, it works. You can then merge those branches with this option here. So let's talk about pulling changes. Pulling actually downloads the latest changes from your online GitHub repository to your local machine. This is crucial when working on multiple machines or being part of a team to ensure you're always working on the most up-to-date code. So on my PC over here, I've actually added a README file to our project. And we can see on GitHub, I've added the README with the note from PC Noah Smile. That's right, I'm not just a Mac fanboy, I promise. So to access these changes, I'm going to go back to our main branch, as that's where I published it. And you'll notice that we have these arrows that look like they're looping into each other, and it says synchronize changes. Let's go ahead and press this button, see if we can pull those changes. Go ahead and give it permission. You can see source control graph from PC Noah Smile with those notes. And now if we go to our folder, look at that README now exists. Hey, it's me from the PC, which segues me into the README file. So the README.md, the MD extension is for Markdown, is the first thing people see when they visit your project online. This is your project's instruction, manual, and welcome mat. So here I would typically explain what your project is, how to install, run it, contribute, and any important notes. It's like a plain text file, but written in Markdown, which is a simple formatting language. Visual Studio Code actually has great Markdown support, including a live preview. In the top right of the editor, you should see this looks like a book with a magnifying glass. So let's say I want to add something italicized, so italics, right? And we can kind of see how those changes are being reflected in real time. If you've ever done the fun text on Discord, that's Markdown as well. If you're not too familiar with Markdown, don't worry, there's some websites to get you started. I'd recommend this website, readme.so. I'll put the link in the description below. And this is a really great way, and it also has a preview as well to add some placeholders, and you can view the way that we're using these symbols in order to write Markdown. So even if, want something for support, right? This is a really great way to look at Markdown. You can even view the raw if you'd like, and copy it, download it, totally up to you. If you want to pro Markdown, this will help you get started here. So here's my little sample. I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. Go back into Visual Studio Code, paste. Let's save and push this change. Go ahead and commit it. And we'll tell them that we updated README. Now my team knows. And save it. Commit that change, sync it. And back on GitHub, we can see that the README is available right here. There's my awesome project, about me with a different styling. You can get as creative with this as you like. All right, I have one more tip that I want to share with you. So in our file explorer, in our project, I would recommend creating a new file and calling it the .gitignore, all one word. And what this does is it keeps sensitive or unnecessary files from being uploaded. So things like your databases, environment values for API keys, or certain build folders as well. I'll also put the link in the description for gitignore.io. Let's say I was working in Swift. We can create a ignore. This would help us figure out all the git ignores that we'd want to include. We can even Command A, Command C, and paste it in here. So essentially any of the file extensions won't be found here. And we can use the asterisk. We can say, okay, anything with the .pbx user will be ignored. You can also explicitly call out files as well. So let's say I really didn't want the test.py. This would be ignored. I lied. There's one more thing. Let's say our friend or team has created a project on GitHub, or maybe I created something on my PC. How do I first initially access it through Visual Studio Code? That's where this clone Git repository button comes in handy. Once we are already signed in and synced with GitHub, you can see here, clone from GitHub, and we can see all the different repository names. Okay, for me, a lot of these are Swift files, but let's say I wanted to grab this GitHub helper here. We can then choose on our computer where we'd like to save it. And then we can choose to open it. Again, this is an Xcode project, so won't be able to do a whole lot of Visual Studio Code, but now we can see we've added this to our desktop on the right side, and we can access, edit, push, pull, all the great things with GitHub, all within Visual Studio Code. So if you found this helpful, give me a like, drop a comment below if you ran into any snags, hopefully not. Subscribe for more developer content, and dream big, code bigger, and have a fantastic day.